Hey guys, welcome to the Nate Take. My name is Nathan, and today I'm going to be going over everything you need to know in order to change your tire to your spare in the case that you have a flat tire while you're driving. Alright, so the scenario is this. You're driving down the road, minding your own business, having a wonderful time listening to your favorite music, and all of a sudden you feel a bump, bump, bump. Maybe you heard a noise, maybe you saw you ran over something beforehand, but you feel a thumping. So once you have found a safe spot to pull over on the side of the road, out of the way of traffic, the first thing you're going to do, once you come to a complete stop, you're going to put your car into park, you're going to engage your emergency brake, and then you're going to ensure that your flashers are still on, and then you are ready to shut off your engine, and then we're ready to get out of the car and assess the situation. Hey guys, Mr. Safety here, keeping you safe when this guy doesn't. I just wanted to let you know, make sure you have your flares, make sure you have a hard hat, make sure you have your safety vest on. You do not want to get hurt. Maybe you'd have some flat. That's wonderful and all, and I agree those items are wonderful to have. I'm not entirely sure that having a hard hat on while you're changing a tire
you definitely
is necessary,
need all this,
though.
trust me.
Yes, it's an added measure of safety, you're right, but I still don't believe that it's necessary.
This is a dangerous world. You need flares.
You do not need a flare during the day. Trust me on that. You
gotta tell the people they need flares, they need safety vests, they need hard hats.
Maybe one at night, but you do not need one during the day. Trust me, you are definitely going overboard on this one. That is not necessary at all. We're gonna go ahead and ignore him and go change a tire. Now your car should have everything you need inside of it in order to change to a spare tire. However, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you go through your car, inspect everything, make sure it's all in good condition. Also, what I like to do is I like to throw a blanket of some type just into the trunk so that I can put this on the ground whenever I'm changing a tire so that I don't get whatever clothes I'm wearing dirty. So make sure you have a blanket. You'll thank me later. So this is the layout of how the tools were in my car. You've got the tire iron here, your spare tire, and then your jack and jack handles over here on this side. Just make sure you check your car, make sure everything's here, make sure it's in working order. Double check your tire, make sure the pressure is good, because what would be worse than going to change your tire to your spare and then your spare's no good? Then you got to call someone and you got to wait and ruin your day. So just go through, double check everything, make sure you're good to go in case you're ever in this situation. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the blanket of choice out. Again, we're pretending that this here's our tire that we need to change to the spare. Lay that on the ground. Now I'm just going to get my tools out. Just lay them down here because I know I'm going to need all these tools. All right, so in order to get the tire out, you're going to use your tire iron. Just loosen it up. This one here is actually already very loose. Alrighty, set that to the side. Now we're just going to pull the tire right out. Under the tire in my vehicle there was a paper here, nice, it's almost like foil, laminated good and strong so it'll withstand all the abuse it'll probably get, that gives you all the instructions for changing a tire. Everything's laid out, all the safety and everything. So if you need to reference this while you're doing it, it should be in your vehicle. All right, so once you have everything laid out and you're ready to go, you want to look for the jack point on your car. Now this is something that the owner's manual will tell you, but it's also here on the jack itself. You can see there's a little picture of the car and then some arrows pointing up to it. And if you look in your owner's manual on this particular vehicle, it's going to tell you to put it between the two crimp points on the body. So on this car, doing this tire, the spot you're going to want to jack it up at is right here. You can see you've got a pinch here and a pinch here. According to the owner's manual, you want to go right in between it, and that's the spot to jack it up for this tire. Now you'll have pinches like this on the other locations around the car for the other tires, but this is where you want to do it for this particular tire. The way this works is this little notch in the jack is just going to fit right in onto the frame in order to lift it up. So we know we need to put it here. Now let's go prepare to jack it up. In order to be extra safe while you're jacking the car up, the owner's manual says that you should chock
the opposing wheels. So you want to put a block of wood, a piece of stone, something, whatever you can find, preferably even plastic wheel chocks that say you store in your trunk. You want to put those at the front driver's side and the rear passenger side if you're changing the driver's rear tire, as we are in this case. So make sure you put your wheel chocks on to ensure that the car does not roll any while it's up in the air. So once we have chucked our wheels, we can go ahead and get our jack wrench out. So we have our tool out, we're ready to jack it up, but before we jack it up, what we're going to do is we're going to pop off this cover here, and then we're going to loosen the lug nuts on the wheel. Wheel cover comes off like that. Set that aside. Now you grab your tire iron, big hefty tire iron that this car comes with, and you just want to loosen the lug nuts. Don't want to take them off fully, you only want to loosen them. The reason for this is that if you jack the car up before you loosen them, all you're going to do is just turn the wheel. You're not going to actually loosen the lug nuts. Here we go. Now what we're going to do is we are going to jack up the car. Just going to start this by hand. I don't need the handle for that. Just want to make sure we're lined up on the pinch exactly where the manufacturer says we need to jack it up at. So now we're going to use our jack handle here to continue to jack up the car. All right, we're coming up off the ground now. All right, so now I was able to visually verify the tire is off the ground. The car's stable. I'm just going to give it a, yep, it's good and stable. Just gave it a little gentle push. Didn't go anywhere. So now I'm just going to take off the lug nuts by hand. Now you can pull your wheel right off the car. Set it to the side. All right, now we're ready to put the spare tire on. Make sure you have it the right way out, where the valve stem is sticking out. There you go. You can take your lug nuts. I like to put 2 on by hand, 1 at the top, 1 towards the bottom. That'll hold it in place temporarily. And then we'll just put the rest on by hand. Now they're hand tight. I can't turn them anymore by hand. So at this point, we're ready to lower the vehicle, and then we will tighten them up with our tire iron. Now we're going to lower the car with the jack until it is back on the ground. All right, so you can pull the jack out. Now what you want to do is you want to tighten the lug nuts on the wheel. Now there's a specific way you want to do that, and that is going in a star pattern around the wheel. So you don't want to go tighten one, tighten the next one, tighten the next one. You want to tighten one, tighten the one across from it, tighten the one across from that, the one across from that, and then finally the one across from that. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm actually going to tighten these a couple times, because as you tighten them, it's going to push the wheel onto the hub, onto the rotor, and you want to make sure that they're good and tight, because as you tighten this one, it may loosen up this one over here. So now I'm going to go finish the last one there, got it tight. Now I'm going to go to the one that I started on. I'm going to get up on the tire iron and see how much more I can tighten it. Continue in that same star pattern. All right, so now I'm just gonna double check, make sure it's good and tight. Make sure that nothing loosened. All right, so now our spare tire is on the car. Lug nuts are good and tight. We tighten them in that star pattern to make sure that it's seated properly onto the... All right, so now we have changed the tire. The lug nuts are on, they're tightened in the proper sequence. It's seated fully onto the rotor. We don't have to worry about it being on there crooked or anything. So now we're ready to just pick up all our stuff, throw the tire, the hubcap, all of our tools, our blanket, back into the trunk. Then we can go get this tire fixed. All right, guys, so that's how you change these tire on your car over to the spare in the case that you have a flat. Now, one couple things I want to note is that the spare tire that's included in your car, on most vehicles, it's going to be what's called a temporary tire. So if you look at the sidewall of the spare tire, you'll see that it says that it's only rated for 50 miles an hour. And it's not designed for long-term use. So make sure you get your original tire fixed or replaced as soon as possible after you put your spare on. Now keep it, told you needed a hard hat. All right, so looks like I need to get out of here. I'm gonna put this all back in the car and then be right on my merry way. So that's all I have for you today. Until next time, this is Nathan, signing off. Don't forget your flares, you need your flares. You need your flares, gotta have your flares.